Welcome to action from Rotax Max Challenge 2019 Championship at Idube Raceway in KwaZulu-Natal. It's round 3 of the South African Championship, and this is where things get real. We get into DD2s. The championship is wide open, but welcome to the house that Benji built, because Habig is on pole position, and he's got a real good advantage over Jordan Sherritt, who's taken a one-event license to come and race in memory of his late great-dad, Gary. Brad Liebenberg in third place, and oh, what a move there from Bantu.
3 of the nationals for many years, a deciding round of the championship. Home circuit, is that such an advantage?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more comfortable for us being at our home circuit. Naturally, the top guys are obviously there. You know, they've done it for a few years, so they'll always be there, and proof is that they are. So I suppose we have a slight advantage just being a little bit more comfortable. We know the circuit is a little bit better, but yeah, it's not going to be easy.
Also, home circuit brings pressure.
Yeah, I think everyone's got that expectation, all the locals have got that expectation that, you know, to a home track you should do well. But as we've seen, you know, the sport is cruel, and hopefully we can keep it an error-free and just get a good result at the end of the day.
Things are extremely tight at the top of the championship. Your friend and multiple champion Bradley Liebenberg is sort of out of it, but he just wants to win races. Do you go into the race if Bradley's at the front, cognizant of that, or do you still think, no, I have to win this?
Well, I think the position we are now in the championship, we have to keep the bigger picture in mind. We basically need to race smart, not hard. So yeah, I think we just have to play it as it comes, and hopefully we won't be too far back. And if it's there, you know, we'll be able to manage our pace. And if he's there, we'll just go with him and see how the race progresses.
One of the most unique circuits in the world. What is the trick to Idube?
I don't know. Basically, you just have to get your car set up right, make sure you've got a strong enough engine for the hill. Yeah, it's basically make it one turn after the other, and hopefully you can put a lap together. Long
absence from the circuit, you're back in the kart with a purpose.
Yeah, you know, obviously this last couple of weeks with my dad has been quite a hard sort of time, and you know, I'm trying to do this for him, of course, and trying to live his legacy for him, and trying to win, of course, and that's what I want to do for him.
If one wants to make a comeback to something like that, I suppose your home circuit is the best place to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I've done quite a few laps in this track, but obviously with a different kart, so it's been a bit of a learning curve. We had a few ups and downs today, but in qualifying we managed to get it right, although my lap wasn't perfect, but I'm pretty happy with second considering where we were. So yeah.
What do you hope to achieve tomorrow?
Okay. I hope to achieve obviously a win, but I'm not in the championship. Benjamin and Brad are, so they got a lot to lose compared to me. So I'm going to race a bit cleverly, not too hard, not too soft, but just, you know, in it to win it, basically.
Brad, we are at round 3 of the Nationals, and for many, many years, this is the make or break round.
Yeah, I think over the years I've been in a lot better position in terms of the championship. Unfortunately this year things haven't gone our way. We're not where we want to be. So yeah, I mean, the rest of the year is kind of consoling and trying to win as many races as we can. Obviously that's what we come here to do, but like you say, it is a make or break round. It's, you know, the second half of the season, and yeah, like, unfortunately for me this year, it hasn't, like I said, been the greatest of years, so we're not in the best of positions. But like I say, we're here to give everyone a run for their money and try and console some points for the rest of the year.
This circuit, everybody's favourite, very technical circuit. What makes for a good lap around the circuit?
I think obviously having the kart underneath you. By underneath you, I mean you get a lot of airborne activity around the circuit, and you know, it's a fast circuit by nature, and obviously having, like I said, a kart underneath you with some good lateral and, you know, I'd say generally a good amount of grip all round, you know, just to carry as much speed as you can through the turns, but at the same time also having an engine and power unit that is strong enough to pull you up the hill and take you down the straights. And if you usually have those two things, it's generally you can hook up a good lap here.
As they head down into hockey stick for the lead up to this first heat. Carl Lawrence joins me in the commentary booth. Carl, this is probably and arguably one of the most competitive categories in the country, never mind in karting.
Yeah, you win this, you definitely won out the premier class in Rotax. As Benjamin Hubbard gets in early and gets out nicely to get away from Jordan Shirt there. Gets a bit of a gap, but Bradley looking on the inside of Jordan into corkscrew. You're not going to be able to go past there in DD2, that's for sure.
No, not in a DD2. Maybe in the smaller classes that's a doable option, but not in DD2. They will force you and put you into tire walls, grass banks, or anything else that comes up. The crowd here have come out to be entertained, and the entertainment is now thick and fast as they get down into the bottom end. Oh, a little bit of running off the side end. I think that might have been Dino Sturman who just got sent onto the inside of the circuit, and he loses out a little bit of ground up the hill. Looks like Bantu also getting a little bit of a maneuver there, but watch out for Dino Sturman. He didn't qualify, remember. He had to start from the back of the field, so he's made up a huge amount of ground there in that first lap. Benji opening up an advantage. Shirt is there in second. I say that, but as we go into turn one, Brad Liebenberg dives up. The man who won the Africa Open, he moves up into second place now, and now goes to hunt down his good friend there, Benji Hubig. But at his home track, Benj is very difficult to beat.
Yeah, in the regional that they all used for pre-testing 2 weeks ago, Benji was able to win out over Bradley with hitting the exact same lap time 4 laps in a row.
Consistency is key, Carl. That's what they say. And alliteration aside, let's get back to the karting. And that's more alliteration. Here we go. Sure, it's on the attack, though. He's not giving up. He's all over the back there. Second battle, it's all about Allison. Dominic Lincoln in there too. And looks like Jonathan Thomas is bringing along Dino Sturman for the ride. So a second pack of karts starting to just get into the mix there a little bit.
Yeah, there comes Dominic Lincoln now down the inside. It brings Dino Sturman with him on Robert Whiting. Couldn't see if Dino got that move done.
Sherrod Bantu, also a man who saw a little bit of issues at the start there. Also putting a couple of wheels onto the dirt. Also in that second pack now as they come up. Look at that second pack. There are 3 karts in the second group. The third group, though, is where you want to be watching for a lot of action, because there are 7 karts in that third group. And looks like the second group's opened up ever so slightly as Allison pulled away, just with a bit of a margin.
Yeah, there's a picture of Dino now. Dino coming into shot now as he goes past us there. Unable to qualify, but doing very well to move his way up the field, just ahead of Robert Whiting and just behind this group of Nick Verheul and Dominic Lincoln.
Looks like Sebastian Boyd in that mix as well now. Didn't quite see him in the first couple of shots, but he's definitely up there in the 6-9 kart and looking for a chance. Waylon Wyman at the back end. I think what he's doing right now is just getting a little bit of experience. Remember, he's doing dual duties. We saw him in action earlier on in one of the junior categories, but Waylon Wyman has secured the DD2 seat at the Africa Open, so he's going to have to get a little bit of experience in these karts before he goes to battle at the Worlds.
Yeah, Robert Whiting pulling a move there on Brandon Smith. Brandon showing his hand for some reason. I didn't see anything wrong with it, but able to get past as Dino catching this group quite quickly.
Carl, you never see anything wrong with those kind of maneuvers, mate. When I pull maneuvers on that, like that on you, you always shout at me and put your hand out. But here we go. It is Brad Liebenberg closing down on Hubig. Hubig has now lost that advantage ever so slightly, and it's come down to less than half a second between the top 2. Verheul over the top end, and just closing things down there a little bit on Jonathan Thomas and on Dino Sturman. 8 of 15, we're just over the halfway stage here for heat number 1, and look at how that second pack has now started to heat up. It's a big maneuver there from Dino Sturman, and he's on the back end now looking for a way to get through on the 3 karts just ahead of him.
Yeah, Dominic looking hungry to get past Jonathan Thomas there. He gets it done here into turn 1. Good move from him. This has allowed Nick Verheul onto the back. Jonathan goes for the switchback, but it's not going to happen with these karts into corkscrew.
1 and 2. That is Hubig ahead of Liebenberg. Then you've got Sherritt. Then you've got Allison. The second paddle now, Dominic Lincoln, and you can see this is what it's all about as they come up on the breakers. Oh, Verheul. There's a big wheel there from Sturman, but he doesn't quite get it to work out. Let's have a look down into funnel. Has he have a go? No, he's not close enough. I thought he was close enough to have a go, though.
Yeah, times are very close in this class, so if you are able to catch onto a group like that, you've definitely got to turn a pace. So Dino looking strong for a good start in the next heat.
Love the fact that up the hill there's no issues with power. Using those gears, you can get up the hill. There's no jumping up and down to try and get them to get up the hill. This time out, they just use the power of the kart that's available and drop it down a gear. There you go, dropping down a gear and into a slightly higher position. Verheul gets the motor down. Sturman up 1.
Yeah, Sturman definitely looking racy. He's hoping to get back onto the back of Jonathan Thomas quickly. That move cost him, but he shows Nicholas Verheul, come, let's go, come with me, I'll help you get through these 2. But Nicholas not one to do that.
And unfortunately, it looks like he might lose a bit of ground there to Dino Sturman. Not going to quite run with him. The top 2 now, just controlling things at the front end. And to be honest with you, it looks like Brad might be running the tail gunner roll here. He's not attacking Benji just yet, but he might be waiting for a bit later on. Benj Hubig will know about that. Oh, another great move into turn 1. Is that Sturman corner, that one, eh?
Yeah,
the
so we
Sturman
rename
hairpin
it.
at turn 1.
Rename it.
He's got it sorted for that one. Well, we got Fisser down at the bottom end of the circuit. We got Sturman at the first corner. Here we go. Comes Allison onto Sherritt. And Jordan Sherritt just maintaining a little bit of a margin. Just enough to just fend off the attacks there from Justin Allison as he looks to get through for third place.
Last time I saw Jordan Sherritt in a kart was at the last national year last year in a senior max. So to see him come into this DD2 field and be running in the top 3 the way he is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a great testament and a nice way to bring a bit of a memory of Dad and the amount of times and fun times they've had here in the past as he went for national championship honours in his career. But the championship is still up for grabs, pretty much there with Benjamin Hubbig leading things out. He's controlling things in the championship and controlling that championship lead that he's got with Brad Liebenberg in second place. And now he's pulled a bit of a gap. On the last lap, he's dropped the hammer and tried to get away. And I think he's caught Liebenberg napping ever so slightly.
Yeah, they head into funnel here. But Benjamin has been good here the whole weekend. We time splits up these hills, and Benjamin's been the quickest here the entire weekend. Brad just lagging behind 0.1, and unfortunately unable to get close enough to make this a fight for the finish.
Well, it's second place for Brad Liebenberg. You'll be happy with that. Remember, he's already secured a seat at the World Finals after winning the Africa Open, and that's still up for grabs as well, because remember, he's got lots of work to do on that weekend if he's going to win championships here in South Africa or go to the Worlds. That's still to be decided. Hubbig, though, has sorted things out in heat number 1 and takes the win ahead of Brad Liebenberg. Sherritt comes through for third place. It's Allison in 4 ahead of Dominic Lincoln. Sturman, Jonathan Thomas in 7th place ahead of Fahel. Brandon Smith and Sherrod Bantu making up the top 10, with Smith, Whiting, Boyd and Wyman the bottom end of the field.
Yeah, I think we managed to keep it clean. We got a good start, which was always important. We kept it clean on lap 1 going through the whole way. So, yeah, I think we managed to build a little bit of a gap, and obviously Brad came back at us at the end. So we battled a little bit with the heat, and the tyres started going off a little bit, but the kart was on song, so that helped us a lot. So, yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye on the temperature for today, and hopefully we can make the correct changes for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I mean, Ben's got a little bit lucky in the beginning. He managed to break, I think it was 4 or 5 kart lengths, and yeah, I got past Jordy, and then I tried to push a little bit. I managed to pip the fastest lap there. I think it was on lap 4, so just to try and close the gap a little bit. I just couldn't get close enough, and yeah, I was just struggling a little bit up the hill, and that's where he was just pulling me a little bit. So, I couldn't really get in range to have a move and to make a move. But all in all, it was a decent race. The kart feels amazing. Like I say, we just got to work on obviously coming up the hill a little bit better and see what we can do from pole in race 2.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We've been struggling coming out of the corners the whole weekend, and funny enough, we went to an engine that we weren't using this whole week. It had better bottom end, so I was like, let's take a chance, because out of Kangaroo we're really struggling, and it helped. It really did help. It's so much more bottom end, was just easier to race and easier to pass. Disappointed with 6. I thought I could have come maybe 5th or 4th, but when you're behind those guys, you get the dirty air and the engine overheats, so it's really difficult to actually overtake. But yeah, it's a good drive, good pace as well. I think we're starting 3rd next heat, half a 10th off the leaders, so we're going to go for it the next heat.
You can definitely a better result for the next one.
Yeah, for sure. We're starting 3rd next one, and we're only half a 10th off the fastest time, so hopefully we can give Benjamin and Bradley a run now.
Well, it's Brad Liebenberg is on pole position this time after that fastest lap in heat number 1, but around his outside comes Benj Hubbig, who is looking to go into second place behind his good friend there. Dino Sturman fighting hard for 3rd. Oh, it got real through corkscrew. So tight between those 2 karts through corkscrew. Very, very tight stuff. And Dominic Lincoln very lucky to survive that. There was nearly a touch between those 2 drivers as they went into the corkscrew, and if that had touched, it would have ended up with about 5 or 6 karts behind, getting into some big trouble.
Yeah, it looks like Dominic proved me wrong there as Dino Sturman drops way down the order. He's been passed by 3-4 karts there because of that move that Dom pulled on him going through there. Jordan Sherritt now ahead of him. And a bit of fighting going on here in the backfield. Yeah, it's Sebastian Boyd, Jamie Smith and Brandon Smith all fighting amongst each other as they head into hockey stick. Bit of a gaggle of karts, and it looks like Robert Whiting comes out best there.
Nice to see Waylon Wyman in that pack as well. So getting to grips with things and how DD2 works. Oh, Boyd under pressure. Oh, and a touch. The 33 just getting a little tap there, and unfortunately didn't work out for Jamie Smith. He drops to the back of the pack now, and a little bit of work to do. Ooh, what's happening there? Brad Liebenberg weaving at the top of the hill. I'm not quite sure what that's all about, but as he gets up under the lift-off point and now takeoff point as they go up and over grandstand.
Seem to be missing Dino Sturman from the picture here.
Yeah, it looks like he's gone. Dino Sturman's got a bit of a problem. Somewhere on track he's had an issue, and it's allowed Jordan Sherritt up 1 position, and that has also moved up Bantu and Allison into the mix at the front 10 for the top 5.
Sebastian Boy coming under pressure there from Anton Parmesan as they head into the hockey stick. Too far away to make the move stick though.
Here we go, 4 of 15, so almost at the third point of this race. The first third completed. Look at the gap that Ben just pulled. Dominic Lincoln holding things up here. Sherritt on his inside as a look on Brad Liebenberg. And I think Jordan Sherritt might make that one stick. Has he been able to? Yes, he has. Wow, that's a big move. Gutsy move going over grandstand on the inside of that corner. If you get it all wrong, we just saw a massive crash down in one of the junior categories there between Alibi and Fisser. And fortunately, those two didn't come together.
So whatever Bradley was weaving up and down the straight forward is obviously an issue because he's dropped way down the order and doesn't seem to have the pace that he had in the first few laps. Let's see if it resolves itself as we carry on throughout the race.
Maybe there's a bit of a flat spot on the tyre or something's gone wrong on that car. There's definitely an issue though. It's not the same kind of pace we saw out of him in the first one because it's Lincoln in second, it's Sherritt in third, and right there in fourth place is the 8-1 of Bantu. So Sherritt Bantu now up ahead of Brad Liebenberg. Liebenberg won't be used to that. And in fact, coming under a bit of pressure now from Justin Allison, just on his tail.
Yeah, Bantu showing a great turn of pace here at his local national. He's really come on strong in the last few races and nice to see him up the field.
It's very nice to see that ahead of the Africa Open champion. Allison trying to close him down now. He was doing that in B-Town a couple of weekends ago to fight for honours in the Africa Open. It didn't quite work out for Justin Allison that weekend, but he's definitely still here with a shot. And the way things are going right now, as Liebenberg makes a move on Bantu into turn 1, championship standings is giving Benjamin Hubig a big advantage over everybody else with a possible double win. He looks back, he's looking down. I wonder if there's an issue there. Maybe a little bit of a problem on the kart as he looks over his right shoulder. What would that be if he's looking over his right shoulder, Carl?
No, it's definitely, you could be looking down at a carb, a choke issue, or maybe even a gear selector problem. The gear selector slits right above the axle there, so they do tend to come loose and make the gears a bit sticky.
It looks like whatever it is, it's not a problem anymore. Maybe he's just concerned about a knock or something on the kart that doesn't sound right. But he's still fighting hard and still leading things out. And that's the gap he's got over second place Dominic Lincoln.
Bradley very deep in the hockey stick there, losing a bit on Sherritt Bantu. It'll be interesting to see how he gets up the field.
Just over the halfway stage now. Still no changes here. Liebenberg has closed in on Sherritt though. He hasn't been able to get past him yet, but he's definitely on the tail end. And can't be too much longer before he has a go. And tries to find a way past on Jordan Sherritt. Sherritt using local track advantage here to try and fend off the attacks from the Africa Open man. There you go. Opens up the door, though. Don't do that with Liebenberg behind you.
Yeah, he's been very comfortable with the pass there in turn 1 in the last couple of races. The last couple of laps, and he actually there's Benji looking down again to have a look at his engine. So whatever that problem was, it's still there, and whatever problem Bradley had is now gone.
Now Bradley now pushing hard to get away and ahead of Sherritt. Sherritt's up ahead of Bantu, Allison, and Brandon Smith just behind them. But second place is still in the hands of Dominic Lincoln, and he's controlling things there from second place. So I think third place is what we're going to have to watch out for. And here they come. 4 karts fighting for third.
The group's getting smaller and smaller as Bradley's trying to make his way up and making passes. But it looks like Bradley's gotten away from that group and gotten right into the back of Dominic Lincoln. So the two Brill are teammates. I wonder if there's any team orders here.
Well, I think with Brad already taking the Africa Open title, he'll probably sit there and give Lincoln the opportunity to take second place. Although, as I say that, Brad's not a man to sit there and play the team game unless there were specific team orders given. So Lincoln might have his work cut out for him here. It might not be a bad thing here for Dom, though.
To work hard to keep Bradley behind him. If you can do that right and get that done, it's definitely a feather in your cap.
That's for sure. So it's Benji Hubig now leading things out comfortably. He's got about 3.5 seconds up the road there on Liebenberg and Lincoln ahead of Liebenberg at this point. Then it's the two teammates there, Bantu on the back end of Sherritt, and Allison not able to do anything about them at this stage in the Ricardios.
Yeah, so the two Ricciardo boys leading out the NS 2-stroke barrel of Justin Allison. As Bradley, if he was going to make a move, that was at the corner, he was going to make a move. He's been strong there all weekend, so choosing not to take a dive and take his teammate out, rather just finish second and third.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what they want to do. I think, Brad realizes that he's not really involved in this championship as such, having taken that. But more importantly, Lincoln needs as many points as possible to try and close down on Benji. So he's doing a great job here and playing the team game in a big way.
Lincoln's still going defensive down into funnel, but I don't think it was necessary. I don't think Bradley's actually even having a look.
Pity they can't talk to each other in the karts, eh?
Don't
worry, though. Tom. I'm just going to sit behind you for the rest of the race.
Just show like a thumbs up next time he turns around.
No, there should be some kind of issue there, but no issues at all coming across the line. Other than what he was looking down on the right-hand side, maybe we get a chat to him in between and find out what was wrong with that kart. But Benji still able to take the win with an A-Link kart underneath him there for Tony Kart. It's Dominic Lincoln in second and Liebenberg in third for Burrell. Then the Ricciardo boys came through. There were Sherritt, Bantu, and then a great drive from Allison beating out Brandon Smith. Rob Whiting, Wyman in the top 10 this time, ahead of Smith, Sebastian Boyd, and Pomershan.
We kept it clean. That was the game plan. We're keeping the championship in mind. So we just want to have clean races, and we managed to do that. We got the lead early on from Brad. I think we managed it quite well. We had a bit of a problem on the engine now, so we'll see. Hopefully it's not too critical for the final. And I think we're a little bit lucky we made it to the end with what the issue was.
I started in fourth, managed to make my way into third, and then sat behind Brad for a while, made a mistake, capitalized on it, and just settled the race in second. Benj was a bit too far ahead of me, so I thought I'd just let it go in second.
You reckon you're going to be able to catch him in the last race?
I think we'll make a few changes now. The kart wasn't perfect, so hopefully this race can be a lot closer.
Third and final heat time now, and it is Brad Liebenberg on pole position, Benji on his outside, Lincoln coming on the inside, but just losing out there ever so slightly. Oh, problems. Allison coming together there with Sherritt, and the 74 car involved as well with Rob Whiting, so 3 karts involved, a bit of debris on the track. They'll get going again, but a lot of work now to do for Justin Allison. That's going to be costly for his championship. Remember, he was second, in fact he was third at the Africa Open, and he's lying in the top 4 at the moment in the championship, so right at the back of the field, Justin Allison could be in trouble here.
Yeah, that first piece of the B was Robert Whiting's exhaust, so he's out of the race as well. But Jamie Smith, where did he come from?
He comes from somewhere in South Africa, I think, Part of the Burrell art team, but so far so good for him. That's a nice start. Yeah, I've got to say, it also caught me by surprise. I didn't expect to see him up there so quickly. And Benji now just demoting him down one position and saying, you're not supposed to be here. This is my house.
Dominic Lincoln now looking hard on the back of Jamie as he tried to get around the outside of Benjamin into corkscrew. That's only going to lose you time coming up the hill here.
Well, Lincoln looking at the Burrell in front of him going, hang on a second. I expected Brad to be there, but not Jamie. I wonder what the team orders are now, because that has definitely upset the apple cart ever so slightly for the Red Army as they go up and over pipeline.
Well, Jamie Smith is in his 2-stroke Burrell art, but I think they're very much a sister team, but very nice to see him high up the field in the National.
And just showing that they've got that set up right for this final heat of the day. Remember, it's an 18-lap final, and on the brakes, eventually Lincoln gets through into turn 1. Can Jamie come back at him? No, not quite. He'll have to follow him through into corkscrew. Behind that, you've got Dominic Lincoln coming through there rapidly. And remember, Jamie Smith also fighting with Jonathan Thomas in the first 2 heats. And Thomas is not too far off the back end of this. Dino Sturman starting to come through. Sebastian Boyd there as well. So championship rivals in the top 5 overall in this championship. All of a sudden looking, oh, what a move! Smith going back at Lincoln. Love it. That's the way to do it.
Couldn't get the drive up the hill though, and Lincoln going around his outside. This is just allowing Dino Sturman to get closer and closer to the back end of Jamie Smith.
And Dino Sturman, remember, is involved in the championship. So is Boyd. And they've got some work to do now to try and ensure that they stay in the hunt at the front end of this championship, because if something goes wrong there with Benji at the final, they might be able to squeeze things out. Justin Allison, as I said, was also up there, but he's now having to come from the back of the field. I don't think that's going to be an option for him. He'll be lucky if he gets inside the top 10.
Yeah, Benji getting onto the back of Bradley Liebenberg quite quickly there. He had about 2 car lengths on him. It's now down to nothing. So Bradley under a bit of pressure there from Benji, but Benji got the 2 easy races. He's down the inside already. I was about to say he might just sit and wait till the end, but not a man to do that at his home circuit.
And forces Brad wide out of pipeline. Brad tucks in behind him. Looks to go down, and he goes defensive, putting the cart in the middle of the track. Brad goes wide. Going to try and get the cut back up the inside of the exit point there. Didn't quite work out though. He sits in second. He'll wait in second place now for a while. Dominic Lincoln sitting behind. We'll be hoping that Brad helps him out. Look at that! What a move from Dino. Dino dives up the inside, rocking that surfer boy hairstyle here this weekend. But they're in a towel, so I suppose you have to look like a surfer, hey?
No, trying to fit in with the locals. Maybe get some local track knowledge from his peroxide air.
Nothing wrong with the driving coming out of that man, though. It looks like the white hair is making him go like a rocket ship, and maybe scaring his hair into going white. As he comes down on the braking point now, he'll be looking to close down on the third place cart, and it looks like Jamie Smith going backwards, unfortunately.
Yeah, Brady doesn't look like he's waiting. He's making looks here and there and showing the nose cone everywhere he can to try and get past Benjamin.
I think Brad wants at least 1 race win. He's not going to give the perfect day to Benji. Although Benj would love that, to get 3 out of 3. And it's not going to be an easy day with Brad Liebenberg behind you. Look at this. Good driving in the background here. And it looks like a little bit of maneuvering happening in the background too. Good to see that as they come through there. That is Dino Sturman, who is making his way to the 3rd place. And look at the 5th, 6th, and 7th place battle as Sebastian Boyd goes at it. Verheul, what a touch!
Anton Smith, Anton Parmesan and Brandon Smith unfortunately getting into a little bit of argy-bargy there, dropping Brandon all the way down to the back of the field.
Yeah, I was watching Smith come through there. He looked like he had the line, but Parmesan diving on the inside saying, no, I've got this. One thing I'm concerned about, dropping right out the back, is that man there, Jordan Sherritt, right behind him. So Sherritt, after that first lap incident, hasn't quite been able to get up and going as well. He's back into the top 10. In fact, he's in 10th place right now. So looking for a top 10 finish if he can keep it all together.
Yeah, and the field of drivers is this strong, though. It's difficult to move your way up the field when they're all doing similar lap times. So he dropped down the field with his lap time from the second heat. So unfortunately, he got mixed up in that first lap incident.
Unbelievable. With 4 laps to go now as they cross the line. There's a move from Dino closing in on Lincoln. Lincoln in trouble. Dominic Lincoln could be losing that 3rd place to Dino Sturman. Dino doing everything right. That's what he needs to do. Remember, both Dino and Boydie have got into that top 5 in the championship due to the fact that they've been so consistent. They haven't necessarily won races as much as the top 2 have, but I think there's a good possibility. Oh, Brad had a look and got through. I was about to say there's a good possibility that Brad might be looking now for a race win at least here in this final heat.
Yeah, definitely a good move there from Brad on the local boy Benjamin. He immediately goes defensive, knowing Benjamin's going to want to come back to him early, but Dino's strong in Cape Town. That put him right up there, and then just consistent again in the next event. So just keeping the consistency up will get him into the front of the championship.
And it looks like he might have a go here for the 3rd spot. He's definitely looking like he's close enough, but let's see what happens now under slipstream effect. Doesn't really affect these guys too much up the hill because they've all got even amount of power, and with the gears that they're allowed to run, gives them the chance to get the drive. Also down here into funnel, they don't have to worry about carrying corner speed. They can just bang it down the box and use the low gear to get them up the hill.
Benjamin very strong up the hill though. He managed to get in within half a car length, but not close enough to have a dive on Bradley from there. Normally in these carts with the front brakes you can have a big dive from at least a car length behind, but when it's Bradley Limburg and you know how late he brakes, you know it's not an option.
Yeah, there's no option.
Big
move. There you go. Thanks for coming. Turn 1. And let's get confirmation of that. Yes, Sturman through. And Lincoln down to 4th place.
Just showing off that dive I was talking about.
Yeah, exactly what you set it up. You know, he's setting that up a while ago and Carl gets it right every single time. He never gives a commentator's curse to anybody. Cross over the top they go and down on the brakes, and Liebenberg hangs on. Burrell's 1 and 4, and the Tony carts, the meat in the sandwich there between the 2 red carts. And I think Benji Habig is looking for a way past on his good friend there, Brad Liebenberg. But Brad wants this win. I don't think he's going to give this one up to Benji. If he wants it, he's going to have to fight for it, just like we're seeing there for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, Bradley's starting to pull tighter lines down into hockey stick, break that a little bit tighter to try to keep Benji behind him. But what he doesn't realize is he's actually starting to open a gap on Benji behind him.
And that's exactly what he needs to do at this stage. So coming into the closing stages now, Brad looking for the win, Benji looking for the overall for the day. The 2nd place here will give him the overall. It'll also extend his lead to about 40 points in the championship to Swartkops. Final lap. Oh, that's enough. I don't think you're going to see a change up there for the top 2. 3rd place, though, still could be up for grabs as Lincoln is keeping Dino Sturman honest and waiting for them to come through. Yeah, it's a lot closer there between Dino Sturman and Dominic Lincoln compared to the top 2 as they get into this final lap.
Yeah, Benji doesn't seem too keen, doesn't seem head down to try and catch on to the back of Bradley. He has a deep braking move going into funnel just to upset Bradley and maybe put him off and get up the hill better than him, but didn't work that time.
No, it's not going to work this time either. Brad's got it down into SMD hockey stick for the last time. Limburg's going to take the final blood here at round 3 of the Rotax Max Challenge Championship, and DD2s goes to Brad Liebenberg in heat number 3. Brillman takes out the win, but the championship lead goes to Benjamin Habig, and it's a nice comfortable margin heading into the final round at Swartkops. Let's see if we can keep it all together there. Confirmation of the results though, Sturman comes through for 3rd place, keeps himself in the hunt at the front end of the championship ahead of Dominic Lincoln, Jamie Smith in 6th place, Verheul in 7th with Boyd and Parmesan, and Jordan Sherritt eventually getting into the top 10 with Allison just outside.
You know, today we came with a bigger picture in mind. We've keeping the championship in mind, so the goal was to keep it clean. We managed to keep it clean. We got 2 wins in a second. So, yeah, unfortunately, we had a technical problem in race 2, so we had to change motors, and evidently it's not as strong as the other one. But, yeah, no, we're happy with how today went. Kept it clean and extended our lead in the championship.
Making excuses, Brad.
Yeah, you know, obviously we also didn't have the best of race 2. You know, we flipped the tyres to try and conserve them for the last race, but unfortunately it took too long to come on, and I dropped all the way down to 5th, and it was a bit difficult to make back time back then, and managed to come back to 3rd, but yeah, all in all, it was a decent weekend. We made a setup change at the last minute, actually, on the grid before race 3, and it seemed to help a little bit. Like Ben said, he had a bit of technical issues in race 2 that clearly didn't help him in race 3, but for me, a win's a win, and I'm happy with the weekend, and we go to the next one.
Can you expect more of the same in Rotax?
I hope so. It's always nice and tight to race like this. I mean, you don't want to disappear up front and just race your own race. It's always fun to put on a little bit of a show for the crowd, and I think in that last race we definitely did it. But I'm looking forward to Swartkops. I think it's going to be a close end to the year. It's myself and Benj are pretty tight there at the front. Even in the whole of today, it was just really us two up at the front, and I'm hoping that some other guys can come and join. I think it will make for good racing, but at the end of the day, like I said, good weekend, and we look forward to the rest of the year.